You know what kind of person Alan is. He didn't mean any harm by asking this question. He was just concerned. It's okay if you don't want to answer. Todd pretended to be engrossed in his dinner, but like the other two, he was secretly watching Winnie's expression. It's all right, it's not a very private topic. Winnie smiled gracefully. I've never had a boyfriend before. Maybe it's just that my time hasn't come yet? Alan was immediately overjoyed. Haha, there's really no need to rush this kind of thing, just like I've never had a girlfriend either, Alan said without batting an eye. Perseus almost laughed. There were 3 of Alan's girlfriends in their village alone. They also knew about each other's relationship with Alan, and even often got together to discuss how to squeeze money out of Alan. In fact, Alan wasn't the only one juggling multiple relationships. These girls also had other boyfriends. Some are from the same village, and some are from nearby villages and towns. They had been having an affair for a long time, and they were quite adventurous with it. Eagle Peak City is a culturally diverse and open metropolis, and the surrounding villages and towns have also been deeply influenced by it, resulting in some people being frighteningly open in certain aspects. As for how he knew, it's because he had a wide social circle and not only got along well with these girls, but also with their boyfriends. He was even invited to participate on several occasions. However, he had severe misophobia and very honestly refused. Alan's declaration that he didn't have a girlfriend was all too obvious in its implications, but Winnie pretended not to understand and just smiled without saying a word. Disappointed at not having the chance to further demonstrate his innocence, Alan sullenly buried his head in his food. Talk and Gina exchanged a glance, secretly making a decision. After the meal, Perseus was naturally assigned the task of clearing the table and cleaning up the dishes, something he had been forced to do since childhood. Alan's stinginess is most likely inherited from that old codger, Talk. They could have easily afforded servants, but Talk not only refused to hire new ones, he also dismissed the old ones. Perseus was the laborer who replaced the servant. He didn't know why he had never been liked by these guys since he was a child. Perhaps it's because of his black hair and black eyes, and because he doesn't look like them at all. When he was little, he often heard Talk and Gina arguing about this, and sometimes they would even fight. Fortunately, there is no paternity testing technology in this world. Otherwise, given his appearance, his genes would definitely not match theirs, right? Now that they had magic, Perseus quickly cleaned everything up when Talk and the others couldn't see him. He then stayed in the kitchen to stall for time, planning to go upstairs and bother Ivisa for a while before helping Winnie solve the problem. His daily work is really busy. Just as he was feeling utterly bored, Alan suddenly walked into the kitchen. Chapter 115, Sending Breakup Letters. Perseus, you finished washing the dishes so quickly? Alan looked at the neatly stacked clean plates in the cabinet with some surprise. He walked over, picked one up, looked at it, and nodded with satisfaction. Very clean. You're still as efficient as ever. One sentence was enough to make Perseus want to kill. His good brother is really something else. Brother, you flatter me, Perseus said with a smile. I'm here to ask you something, Alan chuckled. You know what I'm going to ask, right? You don't mean you want to ask about Ms. Winnie, do you? Perseus pretended to think for a moment. Yes, that's her, Alan suddenly exclaimed excitedly. She's willing to take you home and even accepted your invitation to stay at your place. Though it might be, because of me, your relationship must be pretty good, right? It's all right. Ms. Winnie really takes good care of me. That's right. So, do you know she has a boyfriend? Didn't she already answer this question herself during dinner? I wanted to double check, Alan said with an embarrassed smile. You've dealt with women before, and they often don't like to tell the truth about these things. As far as I know, there shouldn't be any, Perseus said. If there were, I would definitely know. Really? That's great, Alan exclaimed excitedly. I'm so relieved to hear that. Big brother, I remember you like Miss Winnie, right? Perseus asked with a smile. Alan was startled and quickly went to the door to look outside before closing the kitchen door. Sure, keep your voice down. How embarrassing would I be if she heard me? Alan came back, scratched his head, and said, I do like her. I fell in love with her at first sight when I was studying at the Imperial Magic Academy, and I've liked her for almost 8 years now. Oh, I do hear you mention her quite often. And what about her? Alan asked expectantly. Has she mentioned me to you? Alan asked. Perseus gets angry just thinking about this. When he first enrolled, he tried to get close to Winnie by claiming to be the younger brother of one of her former classmates. Even though he was very humble, Winnie still scolded him. In this respect, Winnie was indeed very impressed with Ellen. I think so, Perseus thought for a moment. Alan was so happy he didn't know what to do. He was practically jumping for joy. Perseus watched this unfold and couldn't help but laugh. She really does have feelings for me. Alan suppressed his excitement. Women just love to say one thing and mean another. Perseus is not good at evaluating this piece. He doesn't like stereotypes. Of all the women he'd met, at least Helen and Winnie were bold enough to say what they wanted, which he admired, even though the kidneys were a little uncomfortable. But brother, don't you have a girlfriend? Perseus asked, puzzled. Alan's expression changed drastically. You told her about this? Of course not. Do you think I'm stupid? That's good. I was really worried you'd do something stupid. Alan said with a grim face. If you dare to talk nonsense in front of her, I won't let you off easily. Don't worry, brother. I know what I'm doing. Perseus smiled. I'm not in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship with those women yet. I was hesitant about whether to take my relationship with them further, but now it seems unnecessary. I have to break things off with them as soon as possible. Otherwise, Winnie might misunderstand. But I'm afraid they won't let this go so easily. If they find out about Ms. Winnie's existence, they might come knocking on your door and threaten you with your affairs. Alan's expression was grave. I was worried this would happen, so I wanted you to deliver a few letters for me, along with these gold coins. As long as they receive them, they won't bother us anymore. To avoid any unforeseen complications, you should go now. Go now, Perseus exclaimed in surprise. It's already dark, and it's very dangerous outside at this time. At night, not only do magical beasts roam the vicinity of Eagle Peak City, but there are also some unscrupulous adventurers wandering around. If a man encounters one, he must at least leave behind all his possessions. If he's unlucky, he'll lose both his money and his life. You're a grown man. What are you afraid of? Besides, don't you still have her? The one you brought back, Alan frowned. I heard she's a very powerful magician. With her protecting you, you don't need to dawdle. I'll deliver the message. So what will you be doing? You don't need to worry about that. I'll handle it myself. Alan forcibly stuffed the letters and a small bag of gold coins into his hand. Based on this amount, these gold coins add up to less than 20, meaning each girlfriend wouldn't even get 3 on average. It's probably going to be difficult to get rid of those girls just like that. However, sending letters and money is of course no problem. Perseus stopped talking and quickly went upstairs. Ivisa and Katie sat on the bed, both with identical blank expressions, like wooden figures. Ivisa, I have to go out. Come with me, Perseus said. Miss Katie, please go to Professor Winnie's room. Take your sword with you. If you sense any danger, whoever it is, attack immediately. Do not kill them, just incapacitate them. Okay. Katie picked up her sword and went out. Ivisa looked at the money bag in his hand and the stack of letters. What is this? Ivisa asked. Breakup letter. Ivisa's gaze shifted slightly as she looked at him. Have you been increasingly disregarding me lately? It's not mine. It belongs to my older brother. Perseus said hastily. Do you have anything good at home? I'm one of the best. Aren't you surprised? Perseus smiled, put his arm around her waist, and they walked out the door together. He saw Alan acting suspiciously on the way, but pretended not to see him. Alan watched him and Ivisa behaving intimately and couldn't help but feel envious. The task of delivering the mail was completed quickly. Alan knew the way to every one of his girlfriend's houses well. This wasn't the first time he had delivered a letter, because Alan particularly enjoys writing letters. If this kid were born in his original world, he would definitely be a cultured young man. The only difference is that he used to send love letters, but this time he sent a breakup letter. When they arrived at the location, he told Ivisa to step into the shadows, and he went up to knock on the door alone. The girls were delighted to see him, and some even warmly invited him in to sit down. Perseus politely declined, handing over the breakup letter and settlement money with a somber expression. He didn't explain why Alan suddenly wanted to break up with him, but subtly hinted that Alan had found his true love. It wasn't them. Then he left. You don't have anyone you need to break up with, right? On the way home, Ivisa suddenly asked. You care a lot? Perseus asked with a smile. You just need to answer yes or no. No, I don't believe it. After returning home, Perseus told Ivisa to go back to her room first, and then went to find Winnie and the others. Chapter 116, Alan's Confession, Pure Version. Perseus knocked on the guest room door. It's me. The door opened quickly. It was opened by Winnie. Perseus went in and was immediately startled. Katie stood behind the door, her great sword held high. If she were to strike someone as they entered, few would have time to react before they were instantly cleaved in two. Didn't I tell you not to take lives? Perseus couldn't help but ask. I will control my strength, Katie said calmly. How do we control it? When you're about to kill someone, don't cut too many, just cut a little bit. Why did you bring her here? You promised me. How can anything be done with her here? Winnie said, somewhat displeased. Is that even a question? Of course, it's to protect you. Perseus said. Protect me? Winnie was taken aback. Isn't your house safe? With 3 adults watching you like wolves, you're no wonder you're not safe, Perseus said. Do your parents and older brother intend to harm me? It's hard to say, but if I were Alan, I couldn't help it. You're going to die. Winnie pouted playfully, then asked with a curious look, Tell me, what harm will they cause us? They want you to get together with Alan, and they might resort to some underhanded tactics. You have to be careful. They dare to do that. Winnie was stunned. Even if they succeed, so what? I still won't even give that guy a second glance. He can forget about being my son-in-law, and our family will make sure they regret it. You still want them to succeed? Perseus narrowed his eyes. No, I misspoke. Winnie looked pitiful. I will absolutely not let them succeed. What you're saying works for normal people, but it won't work for idiots, Perseus said. Idiots have a narrow and limited view of the world, and often act on their own delusions and impulses, so you'll lose out if you treat them the way you treat smart people. Okay. Winnie nodded obediently. You better remember this, Perseus said expressionlessly. You should know how many men would lose control if they saw your body, right? I was just saying this when I told you to find other men. If you actually dare to let them touch you, I'll kill them and then kill you. Really? Winnie was overjoyed. Perseus was somewhat stunned. Hee, you talk so coldly, but you still care about me after all. Winnie was extremely smug. Perseus was speechless. He was truly convinced. But no matter what, I am a magician. They should think twice before trying to force their way in, Winnie said again. I told you not to use common sense with idiots. Okay. Still basking in the afterglow of what had happened, Winnie walked over with seductive eyes, pressing close to him, her intentions obvious. Miss Katie is still here. Perseus could hardly stand the seductive aura she was exuding at that moment, and looked up at the ceiling. Don't worry about me. Just pretend I don't exist. I know what your relationship is. You can do whatever you want, and I'll do mine, Katie said. She remained in that terrifying pose, looking completely calm. Did you hear that? Winnie smiled. I told her everything a long time ago. I would have known even if you hadn't told me, Katie said. Winnie's face darkened. Perseus's face darkened as well. You don't mean you want us to do this in front of Miss Katie? What does it matter? She'll be your woman sooner or later. Don't tell me you're going to let her go. Don't make me sound like some kind of perverted sex fiend. Then will you let her go? That's hard to say. That's more like it. Winnie said smugly. Since we're all going to be honest with each other sooner or later anyway, it's no big deal to get used to it beforehand. I'm a girl, and it doesn't bother me, but you're actually getting shy. Winnie, have you completely lost all sense of shame? Perseus couldn't help but ask. Who do you think caused this? You forced me to do so many shameless things. I don't even want to talk about you. He does seem to bear some responsibility for this. Perseus looked at Katie helplessly. I told you not to worry about me, Katie said expressionlessly. Or, do you want me to join you? It doesn't matter. That's settled then. Alan put on his long-forgotten full suit, styled his hair in a very handsome way, and carried a bunch of freshly picked flowers as he arrived outside Winnie's room. He was overwhelmed with indescribable excitement, as if he had instantly returned to his passionate youth. It was a pity that he hadn't developed wrinkles yet. Otherwise, others would have seen that because of Miss Winnie, even with his white hair, he could still be young again because of love. Love? Love that is both vexing and captivating. Winnie, are you asleep? Alan asked excitedly in a soft voice. No. Winnie's voice was also very soft. Alan was so happy he almost jumped for joy, but not wanting to frighten Winnie, he tried to remain elegant. That's wonderful. It's been so many years, and I have so much to say to you. Could you open the door? I'd like to talk to you. Isn't this inappropriate? It's already late, and we're a man and a woman alone together. If someone sees us, it'll be hard to explain. It's okay if you don't open the door. Alan quickly said, I just want to talk to you. We can talk like this. Is that all right? Okay, sure, I'd like to talk to you too. Alan was overjoyed. He knew it. Winnie wouldn't come to their house for no reason. Winnie, do you remember? When we were in school, you were the goddess in everyone's eyes. All the boys liked you. Me too. That was so long ago. You still remember? How could I possibly forget that? Alan said solemnly. No matter how